Peace, James. We just getting some stuff set up. We're going to jump right into it. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Yep. Hold on. Hope everything not too bright. Let me get this straight set up right. So everything can be nice and bright a little bit, I hope. Hope that ain't too bright. Hope everybody can see. Hope everybody doing good. Give everybody a second. Let me see something. Give me 1 second. I got all type of stuff going on over here. But that's good enough. I don't want it to be too bright. We'll give everybody a second, Brother James. No, but we're going to get started. Everything will be going out this week, man. So I'm glad everybody patient. Man, it's been a long week getting everything situated, man, getting all the lesson plans intact. But besides that, it's going to be amazing. That's all I can tell Nobles. So let's give it a second. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Yep, okay. Lights be super bright, man. But any quick question, James, you got before we get into this quick summary? What I'm trying to do is get everybody prepared for class to be starting, so you can have an idea to have things in your head, so you can have some questions. So we're going to get some stuff. We're going to get started in a minute. We got, let's see. I watch everybody come in late, James, like they always do. But that's okay. When class starts, we ain't got to worry about that. Yep. Hey, James, I was trying to demonstrate the mathematics to another Noble, and I'm like, it's simple. And when I broke the mathematics down, man, I just don't think, like I told Morris, I know what's important to us, and I know how we make efforts to do things. And if we're going to say we're conscious, we have to be conscious about everything, especially if we say this is what we do, if we say we Moors. So we're going to get right into it, man. Like I said, once the classes start, I'm going to be emailing everybody everything, so we don't have to worry about this. Only thing is going to be for the public is our ministry. That's it. But everything will be emailed to you, so you won't miss nothing. So watch this. Let's put our benediction in the atmosphere. Get your pencils and your papers. And we're going to get right into the teaching. A simple teaching today. But may the benison of Allah be upon thee and thine always, as we all should strive to be a credit to Allah. Make haste to bestow the acts of love upon all our brothers, and do our best to shun all evil. That's right. That's right. That's right. And I want you to wear your fez proudly. When your fez come in the mail, Noble, this is what this is for. If we say who we are and this is our birthright, and this is our national headdress, we should wear with pride and honor. And we should be willing to covenant with our brother. That's a map that's leading us. And we should bring other brothers and sisters and children to the storehouse as missionaries of this Moorish movement. That's our job. That's what this is about, to build this nation. That's what this is about. We don't have something that, oh, I got it, and I'm not going to share with my brother and my sister that misnomer. We got to show them this gift we have. And then it's a choice on them. But we don't bury the gift. We share the gift. Remember to take suckle of the breast of knowledge, wisdom, fortitude, charity, love, and all standing, that we all might nourish the souls of all men, all women, all children. Let the truth be the shield in the manifest battles of falsehood. Moors, we have to know the difference from truth and falsehood. It's only one law, and it's only one more science. We can't be having 1 foot in and 1 foot out, being confused. This is not no sovereign citizen movement. Know that we need not to pick the lock to the gates of paradise by means of petty or criminal theft. For behold, Moors, the key to salvation already rests within our own hands. And yes, even though a portion of our nature is weakness, instability, inconsistency, there's still the greater part of our nature that is divine. May Allah, may Buddha, may Confucius, may Yahweh, whatever name you praise, may it preserve you and give you everlasting life. Our Moorish American prayer is Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Moors, it's only one temple. It's only one science. That's why our prophet said, stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We must know these truths. Right? Right? That's why I said, Brother James, what's happening right now more is what I'm doing is I'm courting Moors. I mean, you should see how many emails I'm getting like, okay, well, this, or when the school this, and Moors have plenty of time. And what I've been showing them, like how I was telling the Moors, been following me for months, how I broke it down simply, how I told the Moors only $5 a day for 20 days, and that's your $100 donation monthly. Simple mathematics to where I know we have it because we're in a whole different time period. Everybody on Instagram, like they living their best life and this, and nothing wrong with that. But if you say this is what you want, and you say you want to be educated and not be led astray, and I'm providing something, a platform, a school, to where I'm providing books, I'm providing time, I'm providing scholarship, the same way you would be educated in everything, and it's worth a value. And the only thing that costs you is being stupid. This is a willing a choice. This is a willing sacrifice, and it's not a burden. I know this for a fact. Because if it was vice versa, and I said I was a Moor, and I wouldn't be educated right on my holy and national and divine creed, I would be in this all heartedly, and I'd be trying to connect other Moors to be like, this is what we need to do. Oh, you ain't in Arizona? We don't have to be. The brother teaching online. We just need to be a part of this and help him build. That's what this is about. That's when we operate 720. That's when we talk about one body in many parts. We latch on. We latch on to righteousness. That's what we're supposed to do. If we operate on vibrations, that's what I don't see that's the problem with us. Because we don't attach to what we're supposed to do to build. We want to destroy something instead of being part of something that's building. So, what we're gonna talk about real fast, James, a crash course, because I want to give you some stuff before classes start, so you can have just a little idea of where we're going, so you can have some questions. Because I want in school you have to ask questions. You must ask questions. That's why I tell Moors, I'm like, if you don't have any questions and you shaking your head, Islam, that's a problem. You must ask questions. So that's why I'm telling Moors, I'm courting you guys, man. I'm showing you what this science is about. You must make a choice. Because in a minute, I'm going to be gone. And I'm only going to be here for my students. And all you're going to get is the ministry on Sunday, which I won't deprive the people. But you won't get any teaching. And that's what I'm telling Moors. This is simple. This is simple. If you say you say you are more, you say you want to be educated on your Moorish history, your Moorish law, and your divine creed and everything, then you have to make a choice. Because if you just follow and liking it, then that's entertainment for you. And I'm not here for likes and nobody to follow me. I'm here because I'm a teacher, a student, and a magi, and I'm trying to bring us back to something to show us that we can build something. And the laws protect us. This is simple. This is simple. Like I told Morris hitting me up, and I have to be honest. Morris like, well, can I pay partial payments and this? And these are Morris that's been following me for years and months. And I'm like, no, but of course I will look out for my brothers and my fellow Morris brothers and sisters. But you won't get your books and things like the rest of the people. And I told him more, I'm like, if you've been following me for months, and if you would have been given $5 for 55 days, that's the enrollment fee. That's the $250 enrollment fee. Moore's been following me forever. And then the $100 student due, that's only $5 for 20 days. That equals $100. That's simple mathematics. When brothers, we talk about they study supreme mathematics. And I say, no, you don't, because your life is in shambles and your finances in shambles. And you should be conscious about everything. And we should make a change right now. That's what we should do. So this stuff is not a burden to us. Especially if we on Instagram, we have a multiple of everything. We got multiple shoes. I know Moore's got at least 10 pair of shoes, 10 pair of coats, 10 pair of hats. So we have things in multiple and access. And so if our education and our spirituality and who we are doesn't mean nothing to us, then I know that. Then I'm not for you. And that's okay with me. Just keep following the stuff. And every year you're going to be in the same boat, posting memes. You're not going to know who you are. Your emperor's not going to know who they are. Your children are going to operate as black, and everything come out of your mouth is going to be black. And I break this stuff down. I know Moors that say that they go to the temples. And then I know Negro, black, and colored that go to the churches and they give money and things. And I'm like, so what is it doing for you? It's nothing happening. And when we set something up to where it's not a burden on our Moorish brothers and sisters, come on, man. This is a real school of thought, our spirituality, our nationality. You're going to be educated on everything. I'm giving you peer-reviewed scholarly research. I done been through the fire. It's worth the value. And I show you how to fulfill this small monetary obligation. Small monetary obligation. I told Morris that been following me for months. $250, that's $5 for 55 days. Somebody break that down. Right? The $100 student due fee that's due each month. That's only $5 for 20 days. Right? If we want to break it down in increments. You see how simple this is? This is what I'm saying. We have the keys to salvation in our hand. How? Our spirituality and our nationality and our finances. We must use it to what? To build. I mean, how can you be around 20? That's what I tell Morris. How can 20 or 30 homeboys come around each other and go out and drink and smoke, but then can't come together and educate themselves and educate their empresses and educate their children? That's why the houses are not, how can I say it, equally yoked when it comes to this Moorish science. When you see a lot of nobles and they empresses ain't with it and they going to church with their big mama, because these Moors or these brothers, whatever they want to call themselves, they're not teaching Moorish science to their family. They're not teaching the right spirituality to their family. And these teachings, you're supposed to take them home and save yourself and save your family first. These teachings are supposed to save yourself and your family first, your household. How can a Moor or somebody call themselves a grand sheik talk about they taking these teachings and talk about teaching the masses, and you ain't correct your household first? That ain't even operating right, Moors. We must be correct on what we doing and what we teaching and what we putting out in the atmosphere. We can't be playing with these teachings, man, or confusing the teachings. We can't do that. We must be willing to be educated by our own brother. We must be willing to do that. I told you, a lot of these temples, no disrespect to no one, they're not set up the right way. If these temples was chartered the right way, everybody would be natural. Listen, all these subordinate Moorish science temples and all over, and you got all these temples, and you telling me it ain't enough? It ain't 30,000 Moorish that's nationalized through the temple to take this to the world courts, which is the AA22 number law, which we need to what? To restore ourselves. That make you think, wait a minute, something not right. And I say these temples are having church. And it's no disrespect to no one. It's just the truth. If these Moors are going to talk about they dealing with civics and these temples are set up the proper way, how the prophet set it up, and when you register through the temple, you are registered on the Moors vital statistics, then there's only one Moor science temple. And we should be screaming and nationalizing every Negro, black, and color and getting them under one auspice. One second. Go ahead. How it work?
It was good.
It was good?
Yeah, a couple people called on. It was like,
You worked over?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. I told her no problem. She's like, thank you so much. I was like, it's okay.
You see this on the back of these cards? What that say? Moors Bureau of Vital Statistics for registered Muslims. If things were set up the right way, everybody card should say that. That's the statistics to where that's the true AA22 number. When I told you how things were set up the right way, where you can research every Moor, and once Moors go through the temple, we can take that to the world courts because we have enough people. These are the questions that you got to ask Moors, and the first thing they'll do is start lying to you, telling you don't need this or telling you don't need that. Well, that's a lie. You need law. Law, the Constitution. We are defending the Constitution. So when you see brothers lying to you and that's making up stuff, I say, man, the laws work. It must be it's only one Moor Science Temple of America. It's only one. That's just like if we are a nation and we the whatever you want to call it. Can't nobody just make up ID cards and use our numbers and say this is that? That's fraud. That is fraud, Moors. Somebody gonna go at home and print a 1010 number, and I told y'all that 1010 number is nothing. That 1010 number is just the number what our prophet used to set the temple up. I mean, come on, man. Don't let nobody lie to you. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm a Moor through the temple, but that's it. But I created a school of thought for we can learn and educate ourselves. That's what this is about. But don't get it twisted. These Moors lying to you. These cards are just for the Moor Science Temple of America. And if they was all charterite, everybody paperwork could be the same. Because there's only one Moor Science Temple of America. I don't care what state or what domicile, whatever catchphrase you want to use. It's only one. It's only one. And a lot of these Moors, what they've done is just like a lot of, I'm from Flint, Michigan. A lot of barbers, they go on the internet and print a fake barber's license. And that's what a lot of these Moors are doing. They print a lot of charters off the internet. And that's why they don't have the political power. Because if they did have the political power, they would be speaking exactly how I am. And not having a motive and saying, hey, man, come one, come all, every Moor, every Negro, black, and color, every misnomer, Latino or Mexican, come nationalize through the Moor Science Temple of America so we can have 30,000 and we can take this to the world courts and we can be what? Restored back to our original status. Every Moor is only one Moor Science Temple of America. And every Moor card should have the Moors Bureau of Vital Statistics for registered Muslims. For registered Muslims, just like any other thing that's registered. Just like any other thing just registered. Like I told y'all how the temple is set up with the 1010 number. It's an affidavit that anybody can look up. If these temples are set up the right way, this is what they should be doing. You only need 30,000 Negro, blacks, and colored and misnomers to restore ourselves. Therefore, all these Moor Science temples, all in these areas, Atlanta, I don't give a damn what chic somebody like. I don't care what character you like. I do not care about characters. The buck stops today. I'm tired of Moors just following and coming to me, asking me a whole bunch of stupid questions. That's why school getting ready to start. These temples are not chartered the right way. I don't care about nobody wearing no cape, wearing no whole bunch of colors. All you're doing in these temples is having church. Because if they was teaching nationality, they'd be teaching real law. And they'd be teaching what the AA22 number really consists of. And if they was chartered the right way, it's only one temple and subordinate temples. That's it. And every temple, if it's chartered the right way, it should have the Moors Bureau of Vital Statistics for registered Muslims, for you can look it up. That's the real AA22 number. So once it's 30,000 Moors, we take that to the world courts. So the next question you got to ask yourself, are these temples legit? Because the temple shouldn't be trying to convert you to no religious dogma. If nationality is the order of the day, and our prophet set up the Moor Science Temple of America to do a solid for us, Why are these temples not operating the right way and nationalizing brothers regardless and say we need 30,000? Because this is bigger than Nino Brown per se. This is about nationality. This ain't about you believing somebody's religious dogma, because that ain't more science if it's being taught the right way. So that's what I'm saying about law and the separation. I don't care what somebody's saying in the temple. I can care less. I can care less if somebody got a fez on and you talk about this as a temple and it's not teaching the right thing about law and divine creed and nationality. What are we teaching? What are we teaching? I'm breaking all these laws down. These temples are not teaching that. What are they teaching? So what is this all about? What is this all about? These are the questions that you should be asking. All these brothers that call themselves sheiks and all this. It's like, okay, I hear you. I hear you saying all this. Okay, if we're not Negro, blacks, and color and all this stuff you saying, and you breaking down all this law, and you saying we're not Negro, blacks, and color, well, why you not reading? Why you not taking us back to who we are? Why the temples is not breaking down the real law, nationalizing every Negro, black, and colored, so we can take this to the world courts? Because all you need is 30,000, and it's 30,000 more all across this state. Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question, because these temples are not really educated on the national aspect. They're not teaching more about the proclaim, declare, and the due process. They're not teaching them about petitions. Didn't Obama tell Negro, blacks, and colored in 2010 that you have a right of a nationality and was so prophetic because you have the right to change it? And no one would be arbitrarily denied of a right of a nationality and a right to change it, and the claim of child replaces the birth certificate. Didn't I tell you that the religious laws protect you? But you listen to people with their religious perspective talk about Obama didn't do nothing for black people. Hell no, because Obama knew ain't no such thing as black people, because in law and in science, black is dead. Think about this. So what are the temples really doing? What are they really doing? They having church. That's what's happening. You can't get mad at me. Just be honest. If nationality is order of the day and law is history, why aren't these Moors breaking down this law and this history like I'm about to break down? This is my last time, and I want all the Moors to be students under this auspice so we can have enough, so we can take it. The laws work. Why are you part of a Moor science temple if they're not nationalize you the right way and say we need 30,000 worldwide to reestablish ourselves? I know it is. I know it's 10,000 more. I travel. I know it is, because the temple's not set up the right way. They don't have no political power. If these temples were set up the right way, they'd be standing on the corner. Come one, come all Negro, blacks, and color. The nationalized in the Moor Science Temple of America, so we can be registered on the Moor's vital statistics. I'll show y'all all the paperwork, how it went to the first Bush. I'll show you all the letters and everything. And once we do that, we can be recognized. We can be what? We can be what? Restored. Legally and lawfully. Legally and lawfully. Legally and lawfully. You're not about to get no reparations until you restore it. This is law. I'm saying the same thing over and over and over. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, you at a temple and you still, and they not telling you the truth? So what you there for? You going to church. So stop dissing churches then, because that's all you're doing is going to church. I'm telling you. I told y'all, beginning with the post-Drew Ali Freemasons named Charles Kirkman Bay and Love L. Remember I read y'all a letter from Love L from how they trying to say that asking the state what this 1010 number is, and they like it ain't nothing but a affidavit. They've been lying to y'all. You know? They claim to have a power to make Moorish Americans out of members, divine ministered out of sheiks, and adepts out of officials. And I say this over and over. To make a man as one can make a mason is the practice of Freemasonry at its most unscrupulous heights. And to nationalize, which is make or denationalize any human, is both a sin and a crime. No God, prophet, or grand man has the power to nationalize any man, woman, or child. And those that have taken away a man's true identity are criminals. This practice gave the U.S. courts, Moors, and other people the idea that gave the U.S. courts and outside world the illusion that the MSTA was just some type of was a religion whose members under the tenets were nationalized with the name Moorish American and loaned the organizational marks of Bay and L. Needless to say, this nationalization hoodwinking was never empowered or practiced by our Prophet Noble Drew Ali or any upright man. That's how I know Moore is not operating right. Listen, as soon as I hear a Moore talk that jive turkey stuff, I shake their hand and walk away, because I know you're not teaching the right way. You steady operating as you did some black Negroes with fezzes on. Operating I have in church. Because you ain't teaching no history. You damn sure ain't teaching no law. You're not doing nothing. Because if it was, we'll be teaching this the right way and bringing people back to their remembrance and bringing them out this shallow grave. Showing them that the laws protect us. No man has the power to nationalize another man. You know? What you say? I don't want to go to the temple in the A. I see bros all the time from there, GOD'd up, and they don't want to greet me back. Because noble. That's why, remember I said it's a type of everything. It's a type of husband. Just like in the biblical time, people wanted a king. But I say there's a such thing as a righteous king. You got to let them go. You got to go. Everybody's not your brother. Everybody got a fez on, not my brother. That's why I tell more. I deal with vibrations. Noble, if you know how many people I delete, do you know how many people that try to get fez for me? And once I see how they vibrate, oh, I got to delete them. I give their money back. I ain't operate with no fraud. You lying to people and you making fake plates and you making fake passports and you operating to call yourself for more. I ain't with that. That's fraud because you don't have no power to be making no plate or no passport. Ain't no government, ain't no army, no government behind that. That's a fraud. That's fraudulent concealment. And I ain't rocking with that. I ain't rocking with nobody lying. If you rocking with somebody lying, you don't say something, then that means you part of the problem. And you might as well rock with it too. And fall with the Titanic. I ain't with no liars. I ain't with nobody fraudulently concealing with nobody, selling people a whole bunch of fake items like that's going to save you and the teaching save you. All those trickers ain't nothing. That's the same thing that happened in the biblical times. You giving up your birthrights for a trinket, for a piece of metal that don't mean nothing, man. And I say you all going to jail. That's what I'll be telling more. I say they going to jail. It's not law. Oh, you think you picked up some dictionary, you know law. Man, please, we supposed to build. And that's why I'm a builder, man. I'm a Buddha. I build. This is the law of attraction, one of the 7 Kemetic principles. You should be able to attract things to you and like-minded people around you. How you say you are more and you ain't attracting nothing? You ain't covenant with nobody. You ain't even covenant with your empress. So how you say you are more? We don't do stuff on our own. We don't study on our own. We don't love on our own. We don't build on our own. We covenant. And if nobody has the power to nationalize nobody, and this would change him or her from the descent nature of our forefathers. If one can make or nationalize a Moorish American, one can also make a Chinese or an Irish or a Sudanese at will. Have you ever asked yourself that question? This act brought a light to a 75-year practice of clandestine cultism within the Moorish Science Temple groups. And it systematically denounced 98% of its members as non-Moorish or repo their tribal name, Bay and El. You can't do that. That's why I say an entity that eats its young can never be prosperous. And this is why the average Negro, Black, and colored in public today, they don't know nothing about the uplifted duties of our prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And due to this national inactivity of the Moorish officials, there are over 60 million so-called Negro, Blacks, and colored people today who don't know the great God of our forefathers ordained to us a redeemer, to us a redeemer, to us a redeemer. And that's why what I tell brothers and sisters, if these temples are set up the right way, we're supposed to be teaching the right way. And if they're not, here it is, a clean glass. I'm nationalized through the temple. I have real degrees. I break supreme mathematics down to Moors. I'm not here for likes and following. If you want to be educated systematically, this is what it costs. And it's not a burden. I tell more, it's $5 a day for 20 days. That's your $100 student due. Moore's been following me for months and years. I said once your enrollment fee is $250 and you get all your books, all your civics and your history books and your feds. And I said, Moore's, y'all can start giving $5 a day for 55 days and that fulfill it. That's supreme mathematics because we're not conscious over everything. But we be fresh on our Instagram page though. We be grown men be holding up stacks of money to their ear. I'll be seeing your pages. The grown man in the club with fifths of Hennessy. Grown man with Pelly Pale coats on and a whole bunch of Timberlands. Every time a brand new pair of tennis shoes come out, you post, oh, I got to cop these. Well, them shoes that you just posted cost $300. And then you come to me talking about Noble. Okay, it's a payment plans. Man, stop playing with me. We all deserve to know the truth and to be able to make a choice. And this is the main reason why I'm giving you this side, this jurisdiction aspect, for you can understand the national freedom and bamboozle of the birthrights. That's why I'm not slandering nobody, but this is a warning to the ignorant and a guidance for those who are still practicing these sinful ways. and choices are for the free, and decision stands upon the principles of love. That's why the More Science Temple is a charter organization and its limitations. I want to be clear. That's how I know these temples not set up the right way. Man, these temples have limitations. And if they chart the right way, they're supposed to be teaching two things specifically. And as a charter organization, the More Science Temple of America, the constitutional limitations are restricted to only teach its members their nationality and divine creed. Everything else, how you going to teach law and nobody in there is not a divine minister in law? How? Or you picked up a black laws book and you finna defend yourself? You a lie. You ain't finna defend yourself. You just gonna post a whole bunch of stuff. This is the only way for it to live out its purpose, the uplifting of fallen humanity. And from the inception from 1930 to the noble groups, it was never intended to be recognized as a national government Islamic sect or a secret order or as a religion. And yet today, the More Science Temple is widely known and accepted as such as its founder. How they try to reduce our Noble Drew Ali from a prophet to a Shriner. The same way Moors be coming to me like, oh, he a Freemason. And I laugh and I say, this is my science. I've been through the shrine, but I'm not a Shriner. You got to understand that the copied you. But Moors don't know because they don't know any science. Our feather is the most highly respected headdress in the world and worn mostly in secrecy, like shameless thieves in the Blue Lodges. And some of its members have been pushed so far astray until they are known as paper terrorists. Paper terrorists. Look at a scam every time somebody trying to print you something. But they're not teaching you the science because they don't have the science and they don't care about the science. They just want to sell you something because they know we ignorant. And they know Negroes think if you buy something, especially a trinket, that's going to make you free. And all it's going to do is get your head bust. If you're a Moor, you're supposed to wear your fez and your turban. My question is, I keep telling Moors, don't confuse me. Why when they talk about some Islam Moor, wear your fez and your turban. And why you don't have one? Wait. Oh, are you afraid to wear your fez and your turban? But we'll wear a t-shirt. But what about your fez? Because somebody going to ask you about it. Why you ain't going to wear your turban? Because somebody going to ask you about it. You know? What you say, Noble? Excuse the language, you gon' fug around and get me fired. I be reading and researching that work. But see, this is the thing. This is what I tell Moors. We are law-abiding individuals. You got to understand this. We defend the Constitution. That's why when I'm at where I go, man, I'm love. It ain't nothing about us that's disrespectful. That's what I'll be trying to recondition Moors. When people see me, especially as a Moor, they see light. I smile. I'm happy because I know who I am. We don't have to prove nothing. I said, well, all we have to do is defend the Constitution. That the Constitution tell you who you are. What do you think is on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? Leviticus, 25:5. This is your rights. So when you expressing yourself, it shouldn't be an expression of violence. It should be an expression of love. So nothing you do should get you fired. Nothing you do, and I know you're probably just using that analogy, Noble, but I always like to reverse things when words are used negatively. I like to reverse things because the religious laws protect you. Every job that I have, per se, I wear my fez and my turban because I respect the laws and I understand the laws and I defend the Constitution. The religious laws protect you. That's what I be telling Negro, blacks, and colored. They don't understand it. You don't have to force nothing. All you must do is defend it and operate in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and my 2 cents, health, and wealth. And the laws protect you. And if you're not operating like that, then you will be what? You will be what? Abused by the laws. That's how. Not knowing the laws. So when you defend yourself, it's nothing unjustly. Just like I tell people, it's a time and a place for everything. This how Moors be getting in trouble. Because and I'm not saying you specifically, Moors be like, oh, I'm at work doing this. And I'm like, okay, but you're supposed to be at work doing your work. Moors be at work trying to convince a person over something. That ain't your job at work to convince nobody. Oh, you at work, you gonna try to convince somebody this or they ain't right because they don't want to believe how you want to believe. I said, this ain't for everybody. This is a gift. Let it go. It's a time and a place for everything. And if you don't have the ability and if you don't have the withal to speak about who you are from a glorious place at your place you work, we don't need to talk about it at work. Our prophet told us, I'll be breaking it down. What he said, Stop flashing your cars at Europeans. It causes confusion. So watch me break that down. When it's talk about flashing your cars, I use it in another analogy. When you said, I feel you, my supervisor calls me the leader, researcher in the know. That's fine. But we must be righteous of what we're doing. Because we don't let who we are mess nothing up. I tell Moors, just like when the civil rights movement was going on, and Harry Belafonte was telling all those athletes, they was like, well, we're going to stop playing basketball and doing this and just be in the movement. They like, no, it's one body, many parts. We need these finances. We got to build. It takes finances to do this. So it take all this. That's why I say you put a clean glass next to a dirty glass. This is teachings. It's nothing wrong about the law. We defend who we are, legal and lawfully, with their books, with their pen. And we act. That's why when I defend myself, I do it with love, man, with a smile on my face. Because this can't be denied. This can't be denied. Not one national grand sheik has ever gone before the United States Congress of the nations of the earth to proclaim the Moorish Americans as an upright, independent, and fearless people. You know? So these are the things we got to know, man. We got to know this, because I'm only here for a minute. If Moors don't be students, what are we going to do? You know?
They let me pray today at work.
They did?
They let me say my Mayday prayer.
Don't y'all... What does the law say about Negro, blacks, and colored? It's legally impossible for the so-called Negro, blacks, and colored people to free themselves without the achievement of a good education in divine, national, and civil laws. Are y'all following me? Such needed learning are not nearly as complicated as going to Harvard, Yale, or the American Bar Association and all that crap. Most people in the West do not realize the foundation of the U.S. laws is lies between the European, Latin, and Greek languages. When I talk to so-called Negro, black, and colored scholars, and they get to talking that black stuff, and then I talk about laws that will free us, I shake their hand. And then when I start reaching them, because a lot of our elders have sold us out, because a lot of them I took the oath, and the oath is not to tell you the truth. It's just what it is. They ain't going to tell you that the first Bible, which today's United States churches, governments, and state officers must swear upon, was written in Koine Greek, Koine Greek, like the Septica. None of the European systems of education are designed to free the Negro from his Western psyche of enslavement. And on a more personal note, Moors, the basis of laws are more of a person's birthright that rests upon the two immutable pillars of status and jurisdiction. First, you got to learn that these two principles, combined with all testimonies in any lawful endeavor you decide to undertake, and your final judgment will be both honest and just. And the most powerful secret slave laws prevailing today are active, Moors. As long as the Negro, black, and colored attend schools that don't teach them, and attend churches that don't teach them, and go to these temples that don't teach them, and just go there for pageantry. For example, Moors, when I give y'all law, when I talk about the true status of any Negro, black, or colored person, and a seeker that's trying to get light, you must learn that the origin and definition of these words. You got to understand that these words were the property labels given to slaves by the slave owners, then written in 1779 in the United States Constitution under the classification of the 3/5 clause. Don't y'all know what the 3/5 clause is? When I heard Amor talk about his sheet, talk about we don't deal with law, I shook his hand and squoze it too and deleted him. I don't got time for goofballs. But during that time, the great Constitution of the United States of America was written, and NBCs, Negro, black, and colors, were those who had been reduced from African nationals to chattel property by the people and for the people. This is law. This made the slave term Negro, black, and colored legally branded upon the African descendants and lawfully enforceable by all U.S. courts. Don't y'all know this? So anybody calling themselves a scholar, no disrespect. No disrespect. I saw that a Breakfast Club with Dr. Claude Anderson. People send me stuff and they're like, what you think about this? And I say, anytime when somebody come with just that black stuff, I'm not going to say they're an agent. I'm not going to throw stuff at people like that. But if you say you a scholar, you know in law. And then you know in law and science, you know black means dead. So if we're going to stay in the proper context, how can your blackness be the key to your freedom? How can blackness be the key to your freedom? It should be your nationality and your spirituality is the key to your freedom. Could I make you a complete 5/5? Where are we playing? Don't play with me, man. I don't respect nobody just because they talking. Give me some real solutions and tell the truth. In 1857, the United States Supreme Court's infamous Dred Scott's decision upheld the original denationalization intent of the slave marks Negro, blacks, and colored. And later in 1868, the Congressional 14th Amendment, the words all persons born, still meaning commercial property, and incorporating the original 3/5 clause written in the U.S. Constitution. It made the newly freed Negro, black, and colored believe he or she are citizens. But the truth is, there is no one who is able to make any property a citizen as long as it continues to self-claim the name of property and still is nationalized of ownership and government. Remember when I tell y'all, a lot of stuff we do it willingly. When you are obligated, when you go around calling yourself a Negro, black, and colored, well, we're going to talk about this. Talk about some black this, you black this. Yeah, okay. The truth is the definition of the word Negro, black, and colored has never been changed in the Webster's or law dictionaries neither. And any of the three branches of the United States government that have jointly enslaved the nationals of Northwest and Southwest shores of Africa. And the problem with getting the message across to these that need to know is the pre-measured Negro mentality will naturally reject its own freedom. That's what Negroes do. Just like Nas' album, when he say that's what Negroes do, when he would say, we'll eat something till it kills us. Because that's what Negroes do. We'll eat something till it kills us, but it tastes so good. Them chitlins taste so good. Them pig feet taste so good. But you would eat something till it kill you, because that's what Negroes do. You would claim something and you know it ain't nothing, a misnomer, because that's what Negroes do. That's what Big Mama did. Well, we should know better. And when we know better, we do better. We don't, all tradition ain't good. We don't got to cut the turkey in half no more because you saw Big Mama doing it. Big Mama cut the turkey in half back in the day because there was a reason. She didn't have a big conventional oven. The pan wasn't big enough, but you don't got to cut the turkey in half no more. It's difficult for such a mind to comprehend anything which is not first sanctioned by the masters of their mental slavery. In fact, the changing of slave labels every 10 years, if placed by music with these beats, oh, you a nigga, I'm an African-American, this, all crap. It's more acceptable than the search for one's free national name. We accept all this, but we won't accept our free national name. We accept all these religious connotations, but you won't accept you being a Moor. It's one nationality, many culture. Nobody is stripping you from your culture. If this is our national headdress and our birthright, why are you not wearing your fez and your turban? Or you'll wear a baseball hat. That's why I said everybody ain't my brother. If you afraid, and our prophet told us to be ourselves, but you won't wear your fez and your turban, man, go on with it. Go on with it with me, man. The histories of human slavery reflect ruling governments that traditionally use so-called slaves in high positions of trust in domestic and foreign affairs. Don't y'all know that? The cardinal custom of man will not alter the nature of truth. We got to know this. Nationality and free national descent is attached to your name. That's like my last name is Goodman. And then you get these goofball Moors talk about your last name is some slave name. And I say, well, I don't come from no slaves. I come from a family crest. Don't y'all know when I break down the ancient and modern Britons by David Mack Ritchie, and you're going to let some Negro, black, and colored attach you to everything negative? And I said, who told you was a slave? Because I ain't no slave. My family ain't come from no slaves. We got a family crest, and this is the Goodman family crest, and I wear that with a badge of pride. But you're going to let somebody tell you that don't even know you, talk about you the descendants of some slaves. And then you say you a Moor, and you say you a Moor from America with Moroccan descent. So if you have Moroccan descent, who said that your Moroccan descent was descent of slaves? I'll wait. Because my descent ain't come from no damn slaves. Period. And we always want to attach to the negativity. Oh, I'm descendants of slaves. Oh, how do I know my last name? Are you going to let somebody tell you that your whole family was slaves and you ain't even research your family crest? And when you research your family crest, you see different nationalities, and I tell you because you was all over. Y'all don't understand it. You let people get you caught up in the wrong science. Somebody gonna ask me one day, where do so-called European people come from? I said the same place you come from your mama's womb. Ninth to the ninth power. You gonna let somebody get you caught up with he say and she say, or you gonna deal with science and understand who you are and let that be? You gotta love yourself so much where you don't care about what nobody else and who nobody else is. You're supposed to know who you are, but you worried about where the white folk come from. Man, where you come from, fool? Just substitute any of the true common meanings of the adjective black as death, lifeless, or dead. Then place it in front of any subject generally used in association with the so-called black people when Negro, blacks, and colored want to call themselves black. And I said, what does black mean in science and law? It means death. Yeah, black is beautiful. Orange, red, and green is beautiful too, but that ain't your nationality. So let's put dead in front of everything we call black. And what would you see? You would be surprised that the game that has been played on everybody that called themselves black since 1652. So now let's apply the word black to its everyday assumable uses in the only country on earth that makes the people with black minds. Remember, the true etymology of the word black has always meant death. Listen. So let's dead man, dead woman, dead history, dead communities, dead organizations, dead teachers. We want to talk about some black business school, some black love. Man, what did you talk about black? Why you don't call it Moore's love? Let's go with dead again. We call it black schools dead, race dead, movies dead, life dead, business dead, justice dead. All that's black. Let's go again. Let's put dead in front of all this. Dead ideas, dead heroes, dead criminals, dead books, dead language, dead crimes. Black clothes, black thoughts, black caucus, black leaders, black theaters, black things. Dead, 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 dead. Black churches, black Muslim, black alliance, black love, black policemen, black employment. Dead, 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 dead. Black news, black children, black family, black flag, black doctors, black universities. Dead, 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 dead. Black place, black athletes, black power, black bands, black lawyers, black conscience, all dead. Black politicians, black God, black religion, black people, black power, black pride, dead. Come on, man. If we're going to deal with words and we say we're scholars, you playing. You playing. All dead. All dead. And you Negroes going around with that black stuff. And I say, man, don't come with me with that. When we talk about identifying who ourselves, who we are, you playing with me. And I don't got time to play with you. The true history bears witness that the idea of a Negro, colored, and black people was never an African philosophy. History will further reflect it took scores of years to beat the black psyche into the isolated people until it became a living part of them, Moors. The results were life itself then became the only filter through which the branding iron of black acceptance displayed only on African survivors. And today, the same blackness that once hunted and terrorized the souls of every enslaved African man, woman, and child is now sought after with pride, lust, and shameless dignity. Come on, man. How can any enemy of 500 years now be a friend, per se? Is it possible for the right to be wrong or truth to be a lie or falsehood? This is why our prophet said that, and he personified it as mental slavery, which is the kind of slavery that you are in today. When we talk about chattel slavery, what you say, Noble? I cringe when I hear Negro, black, and colored. Come on, man. It's all a fraud. Just like these Moors talk about they celebrate Kwanzaa. You celebrate some black tradition. Kwanzaa ain't even real. Research who Ron Karinga is. Ron Karinga was a COINTEL. And I'm going to show you what a really COINTEL is. A COINTEL or agent ain't somebody that you don't believe. Y'all got to stop just putting titles on people because you don't like what they saying. That don't mean they no damn agent or no COINTEL because y'all believe different. A COINTEL is trying to get your ass locked up and mess up the movement. That's what a COINTEL does. Come on, man. Because you don't believe with somebody, you want to call them an agent or a COINTEL, you have no idea. Chattel slavery, and the essence of the word chattel is cattle. The essence of the word chattel is cattle. Cattle farming of humans in America from its African imports and trades are historically known as slavery. Chattel slavery and slavery itself is not new to the nations of the earth. That's why you got to understand that every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers, Moors. And slavery is and has always been a divine issue. And it's the Father's way of punishing his disobedient nations. These holy spankings, per se, usually last from 40 to 400 years, according to sacred records of the human family. And today, Muslims of the East still believe in and also practice slavery, mostly on Sudanese, even though they should have ended the practice selling their brothers of African and Islamic descent to the Europeans. Man, I can break all this science down, man. I'm giving y'all a crash course because school gonna be amazing. Pacifiers of mental slavery is these pseudo nourishment, this pseudo education to stimulate food necessary to sustain life, yet gives the idea. It gives you nothing. That's why our prophet said a beggar nation can't save itself. And most so-called African Americans, according to plans of the 14th Amendment, are actually realized colored people that were once Negroes and do not understand being black Moors is a post-slavery thought pattern and socially learned behavior. Man, I'm trying to tell you how the Quran differentiates black and white. The Holy Quran of Muhammad, as well as most books of guidance and laws, is explicit with word usage of white and black. I'll break all that down in school, but you're not going to get that right now. I'm courting you. There is no attainment in being black. Blacks are those who have been miseducated, lied, and beaten down into hopeless of despair. People that's black believe they cannot trace themselves. So mixed up and amalgamated until they don't know who or what they are, are so politically incorrect. We just have to be whatever they say we are today. And that's not what the laws say. What did Obama tell Negro, blacks, and colored in 2010? Man, come on, are y'all tripping? The laws work. This thinking sustained an entire nation of people into a Congress-owned, state-certified black prison mentally at live birth. That's why you got to understand the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendment. And we're going to break all that down. Since it's through the certification, they are led into a lifetime belief of being born black. And the Negro, black, and colored mentality assumes that black is what they are because God did that. No, God didn't do that. God blessed you. If we made an image of God, God blessed us. But the U.S. courts, documents, and seals is all the proof that they need. Man, come on, Moors. Don't y'all know this? Man, this is too easy, man. Don't y'all know that the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 did not free a single Negro, black, or colored person? Slave from the legal binding slave laws of the 1779 United States Constitutional of the 3/5 clause. Don't y'all know that? Don't you know that? That's why I be telling y'all these temples ain't set up right and these sheiks lying to y'all. However, not the same can be said of the 13th Amendment of 1865. And this is the first of the 3 Reconstruction Amendments. And it did, in fact, abolish the institution of slavery, which opened the door of freedom to all African descents in North America. So you got to understand that the 13th Amendment was the greatest and only document of manumissions. You got to understand what manumissions are, even to be intact by the Congress of the United States. And that's why the 2 sections that was ratified were just watered down versions of the 20 sections that was originally proposed. And just 1 section was needed to free all African descents from their mental slavery. Are y'all following me? And constitutional bondage in the United States. But you gonna say your sheik don't deal with law? Man, something wrong with you. And your nationality and who you are is all wrapped up in the Constitution. What's on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? What's on the bottom of the Liberty Bell, Morris? Y'all probably don't even know. What's on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? Anybody know what's on the bottom of the Liberty Bell? You should. But in order to understand what the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendments, particularly what they are, as pertaining to American slaves and ex-slaves, as granted privileges to as opposed to rights, you got to focus on what prompted their ratification. And when you are enlightened in the necessary fields of law and international law, most U.S. citizens were fooled into believing that the USA actually surrendered her slaves with no strings attached. That's right. But what's the scripture? What is it? What is it? What's the scripture? Leviticus what? In the world of our prophet Noah Ali, even a fish would not take the bait, knowing the hook was hidden there. I tell you all about these 5/5 of a natural person. I'll tell y'all about the Article 13. All persons shall have the right peacefully to assemble and worship God according to the dictates of their own conscience. The use of the public press shall not be obstructed, but criminal publications made in the state against the lawful institutions of another state shall not be allowed. The right of citizens to free and lawful speech in public assemblies shall not be denied. Access of citizens to the ballot box shall not be obstructed either by civil or military power. The militia of a state of the United States shall not be employed. I can go on and on, man. 14th Amendment. The Honorable Noble Drew Ali warned all the Moors, and I am myself, about the needless power of the 14th and the 15th Amendment. He also taught the Moors, and what I'm teaching us as well, there was no need for the application of the 14th and the 15th Amendment. Right? I'm telling you. So you're going to get all that in class. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that there because we're getting ready to get in insomnia. That's part 2. But Moors, if you haven't got my books, because we're going to log off and go in part 2. And we're going to get these Masonic keys. But Moors, if you haven't got my books, like I said, I will send you PDFs of all my books for a donation. These books can be used for your children, for your scholarship, to educate yourself. I mean, I got coloring books. I got healthy eating and living books. I got a book to show you how to work out. I got my 14 famous scientists in history. 14 famous scientists in history. Interpretation of the Divine Creed of Moorish Islam. Interpretation of the Divine Creed of Moorish Islam. So you don't have to be confused with the science. We write the science. Sufism and a triple roll of the adapt chamber, featuring the Command and Adapt manual and the use of our carpenter tools. Moors, to send a $40 donation, I'll ship you all books. Delectable vegan treats, our vegan cookbook that we made. Black scholars who debunked the Eurocentric propaganda, so you can know about people who wrote the science and who wrote about you in history. You know what I'm saying? Sheikh Anadia, Amos Wilson, Dr. Francis Cross Wilson, Chancellor Wilson. Come on, man. Ida Van Sertima, Sheikh Anadia. People don't even know about these scholars in history. Moorish America's Light of Ali, the Moorish and Adapt Study Guide, the House of Ali, Mysticism, the Egyptian Adapt Prophet and Angel. So why are you confused of the science and your brother wrote the science? How can you say you adapt and you a master mechanic and you can't write the manual? Because you're not a master mechanic. You just a shade tree mechanic that's just changing brakes in your garage. But log off, man. We're going to get with part 2 and we're going to jump in insomnia. We're going to do the great Masonic secret. And that's it, man. Islam.